We made the choice after a phone call while driving from Bev's social worker, and they said, we've called everybody. She's 10. She's probably not going to be adopted because people want babies, so you have a choice.
From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name. I've been born again to a family. Your blood flows through my veins.
We didn't even pray about it or talk about it. We just said, yeah, let's do it. And she told us what we had to do, and we immediately contacted the cabinet and started our foster care classes. And after we finished that, we started the journey of transitioning Bev into our home. And it was so scary and not necessarily like a perfect family from the jump. It was hard and it was fun and it was messy but perfect all at the same time. We knew that she belonged.
I felt like early in life we weren't ready. We needed some life experience ourselves. We needed to raise our own children and get experience. I do feel like we ignored it for a while. I feel like there was a time that we ignored it, and then he just laid it both on our hearts so heavy, and that we just couldn't ignore it, and we both kind of came together at the same time and decided it was the right time.
It happened at church where we learned about fostering it, and it really laid heavy on our heart. We prayed together and figured out that that's really, we wanted to go out and make an impact with another child, whether it was someone that was medically fragile, male, female, it didn't matter what color. We had it in our hearts that we wanted to, help some kids in our community or outside the community that needed a warm meal, a house to live in. And I mean, those types of things that we take for granted as parents, because, we have, everybody knows we have 4 biological children, and they have a great house, a great place, and we wanted some other kids that maybe weren't as fortunate to be able to experience that same type of love that goes along with living at the Corman house.
The statement foster parents probably hear the most is, I could never give them back. We fell in love right away. We got attached right away. That was scary because we didn't know what was going to happen. We wanted to adopt her, and we thought that was an option, but we learned about 12 months in that she was probably going to go back to her biological father. In the end, our call is to fully love these children while we have them and accept the cost we may incur as worth it for the gain that they may receive.
Before our adoption was final, the thought that something might happen that we might not keep Jacob was probably the scariest thought I've ever thought of in my life. But, at the same time, you've got a certain period of time maybe, you put everything you can into that child, and believe it or not, they will remember that when they get older. It will help them out in their life in some way or the other.
You hear adoption stories and you think, that's so beautiful, but it's not for me. I couldn't deal with a broken system, but this isn't about strutting around with a cape on our back. We are not rescuers, that's God's job. Our job is to say that we've been saved and we want you to be saved too. All adoptions are the result of trauma and unimaginable loss. So as Orphan Care begins, it starts with our willingness to step into the darkness. It's true, the system is broken, and at times it's really tough to deal with. But that doesn't change the fact that there are over 450,000 children in this affluent country waiting to be adopted because of people being unwilling to get involved.
The numbers are very overwhelming, and you think, there's nothing I can do with these great numbers. But we've learned that there is no such thing as just one when you're talking about adoption.
Several placements have been tough just because that that the environment they've come from, but we really have to know that that we're a temporary spot for them, and it could be a permanent spot. But we want to make sure that not only are we taking care of the child in their need, but also it's a way for mom, dad, whoever to try to get better.
A lot of my fears were, at 40 some years old, I don't want another little baby, and but it just got to that point where I couldn't say no, because I knew that it was where I was being led to go. It had nothing to do with necessarily even my wants or what I thought was best at the time. That's why they call it faith. It's not just faith because you can't see Him every day. It's faith because sometimes He asks you to do stuff that you think's crazy, that you would never have done. I never knew anybody that adopted anybody. Never knew anybody that was adopted. You put your faith in God and you just go out and say, this is what He's called me to do, I'm going to do it, and have faith that it's going to turn out for the best when it's done.
This is nothing more than what Jesus has done for us. He joyfully laid down the infinite value of His own life that we would know the immeasurable worth of being fully and unconditionally loved in Him.
It's not easy, but again, it's far worth it in the end, just to experience the time in that child's life.
Just because we have been blessed so much by Katie, we've been blessed so much by the experience. Our kids have learned so many life lessons, and we want to heed God's calling again and continue this journey with another child.
Even though it was hard, and even though there was so much grief and loss, that she was worth fighting for. And even when it's super scary and when the system fails you time and time again, it's worth it.
Not always pretty, but I promise it's worth it.
You're